Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1026. Hello, it is Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valentino. Today, we bring you the much-loved news segment, the Mikelopedia Insanica, with interesting news stories about your world you didn't know about today. It's in this Insanica book right here. And we'll look at
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Some interesting things you didn't know about. Plus, we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
As I was sitting here trying to write a tune, a fighter jet flew over my head, and then I realized it was due for a Super Bowl game of some type that I won't fake I care about to you. Although I hear Lady Gaga sing the national A, and that was pretty cool.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's car versus den. And that means a car in every den.
Mike's
If that's the case,
Daily
you'll need to call
Podcast.
your home insurance.
Yeah!
Then I really don't care. Hey, you know what? I was driving to work today, and I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk about the debates last night, the Republican debates. Okay, here we go. I didn't watch them. But I heard that Mr. Chris Christie, in a vain attempt to try and get in on the last second, get in the top three, because we got that one in New Hampshire coming up this week, he attacked Marco Rubio. And I don't even know. They explained the story on NPR. I listened to it. I had no idea. I had to listen to it twice because I listened to the podcast. I had no idea what they were talking about. Chris Christie had some problem with Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio saying the same thing that he says all the time. That's what his complaint was. All the politicians say the same thing all the time. They say they hate Obama. That's their thing. Obama and make America great again. That's their thing. They say it over and over again. That's what Republicans say. And Democrats say over and over again, don't vote for a Republican. So it's all very simple. All very cut and dry. Also today, look, I just walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. Hi, how you doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I'm so sad and blue that Land Cruiser is now done.
Well, I mean, there's still Cruz in the race. And maybe if he gets to be nominated as the Republican main candidate, he'll have Rand Paul as his running mate.
No. Land Cruiser is out of it because he's running for his Senate seat. He's got a re-election that he's got to think about because he's got challengers.
What?
He's got challengers.
That's right, he's got challengers there in Kentucky. Do you know what Rand did, Rand Paul? In order to be able to run, this is confusing. This is turning into an Abbott and Costello bit.
A who and a what?
Abbott and Costello. Who's on first?
Oh, yeah, I like those guys. One of those guys was short and fat.
I'll talk to Benita for the rest of this. Benita! Yeah, man! Oh, good, I get to be on y'all's show! Yeah, you've been kind of pushed out lately. I'm sorry. We've had a lot of Haley on lately, so that's meant less time for you. I know! I'm sorry. It's all right. Haley's funny. Yeah. And Kevin. That's right, Kevin has been on too. Anyway, Benita, you're looking lovely. Thanks, Mike. How y'all? Oh, you already answered that. I did. I answered. I'm fine. Oh, look who else just walked in.
Hello, Mike. Can I make the route beyond the Brewmaster? Oh, boy.
Brewmaster, so what I was telling Benita and the Disgruntled Fiddle Player and you...
Thanks, Mike. I'll cut you.
I was... What?
Nothing. Go on.
What was I... Oh! Yeah, Chris Christie... Rand Paul... Oh my gosh! When you guys interrupt me, how am I supposed to keep a train of thought going? I've derailed the train. It's no longer running on tracks. Erg.
Mark, take a deep breath and continue on with your tale.
Oh yeah, Rand Paul so in Kentucky, in order for him, there's a law in Kentucky that says your name cannot be twice on a ballot. In other words, he was running for both president and for the Senate seat. That's not, you can't do that in Kentucky. I know, it's a shock. So he had Kentucky change their primary into a caucus in order for him to run for president. Doesn't that seem a little bit, I don't know, scummy? I mean, that once you're in power, you change the rules. Okay, I'm not saying that politicians on the Democratic side aren't guilty of that. They are. They're all guilty of that. But it's time to call BS when you see it. And BS there, Rand Paul. That's kind of crappy what you're doing in power, in your seat of power, and changing the rules. Anyway, it didn't work out for you. Maybe you'll lose your Senate seat and then you'll learn a lesson. Duh! I feel so powerful with my little podcast I can say things like this.
Mark, it's really what it is you're saying things and nobody hears it.
What?
Yeah, just me and Benita and the Brewmaster, and we're just shaking our heads. What a sad, sad guy you are. I miss Rand Cruiser.
Maybe it'll be Ted Cruz and Trump together. You can say Trump Cruiser. Kind of sounds cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
All right. I'm glad we all worked that out and we worked through our problems. By the way, I just wanted to drop this in here. I work in Fremont most of the week. I like all the beards. I see a lot of beards in Fremont. I like it. Everywhere I see beards. It's a multicultural place, Fremont. You have a lot of bearded men and women. No, mostly men. I haven't seen really any bearded women in Fremont. In San Francisco, I've seen them. I know. You know what? This show comes from an honest place here at Cafe Anyway. It's a little bit silly. Oh, finally, the Republican candidate Santorum and Huckabee, who I sometimes like to call Hickabee. The two of them, they both showed up at that when Donald Trump was all mad at Fox News and that woman on Fox that's beautiful that he doesn't like, and he didn't want to be on the Fox debate. So he decided he was going to boycott it and instead raise money for veterans. Something like that. He had at his thing Santorum and Huckabee there with him, and then like the next day practically, Santorum and Huckabee announced that they weren't running for president anymore.
Yeah.
So I just think that's interesting that did Donald Trump talk to them and go, "Hey guys, I need you to bow out now, get out of here." Oh, okay, Mr. Trump.
Mark, that's not how it sounded like at all. Huckabee's voice is a little bit higher.
It is?
I don't know. I just know he likes to sing.
He likes to sing. What's wrong with singing? Singing is fun. So yeah, that was interesting that happened. And then I brought that up with a conservative talk show host in the Bay Area I actually work with, and I brought that up to him, and he proceeded to rant about all the Republicans and said something that Cruz is too far to the right, too conservative, and it's going to be impossible for him to come to the middle to get votes, and that Trump is just too crazy, and Marco Rubio is the closest that could possibly win on the Republican ticket. And then he proceeded to make fun of Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Of course, he hates both of them because they're Democrats. Brought up the whole Bernie Sanders isn't electable, which, if you think about it, may be true, because I know a lot of you young people listening, you want Bernie to win. But the fact of the matter is, you got to remember, the United States is full of a lot of people in a lot of age brackets other than your own, other than my own. And they ain't all down with the Bernie. So if you put Bernie in there, if Bernie is the Democrat head Republican electable fellow, he's not electable. I don't think he's electable. I'm sorry. I think he's a brilliant guy. Some of what he says is great. And yeah, maybe Hillary isn't well, she's not made of gold. as this conservative talk show host was telling me, Hillary, oh my gosh. I don't even want to go into it. It made him look sexist what he said about Hillary. As most white men, when they start to talk about Hillary, they start to sound sexist. I won't talk about Hillary then. No, but I think she's electable. I just think she's been she was a Secretary of State for our country. She was a senator. She's got a huge pedigree. Of course, this conservative talk show host went and talked about, of course, Benghazi, the two streets, Benghazi and emails. He talked about the corner of Benghazi and emails. Those are the two things. And then he went off on Benghazi about how that whole reasoning that there was a riot happening because of something on YouTube, and he said to me, you mean to tell me that a YouTube video that's been up for 2 years is what riled up a riot? No, it's because Hillary didn't do her job and didn't put someone to protect the guy that got killed and the 4 Americans that got killed. And then I didn't know what to say at that point. I went home, I took my dog for a walk, and then I realized, oh yeah, you know what? There's this thing called the Iraq War that we did in 2000, what was it? 3 or 4, that killed a bunch of American soldiers over WMDs that didn't exist. Maybe that's also called killing Americans, and a Republican politician was doing it that time. That would have been my comeback. Yeah, it's not very good, is it? There's something there, but I just didn't deliver it right.
Look, Benghazi will bring down Hillary Clinton. You watch. She will not be our president. Instead, it will be, what do we say, Hillary?
Trump Cruiser.
Yeah, it's going to be Trump Cruiser.
If it is, I think we're all going to get the hell out of this country, because that's going to be scary. Woo! Wow. First off, those two hate each other. Second off, they're nuts. Anyway, it's still far off. We'll learn more. By the time you listen to this, maybe you'll hear this later on in the week, and you'll already know the results of both of the primary and of what the Democrats picked and who won with the Republicans. At any rate, I will tell you that the people that showed up for the Bernie Sanders rally, or whatever you call it, they got together in Oakland at this place called the Drake's Dealership. And there were a bunch of Bernie Sanders followers and fans that were rooting for Bernie the night of the primary in Iowa, which he did very well. He did very well indeed. And I will tell you, I think I said this to Kevin on the show, the last show. There were some very beautiful women that are Bernie Sanders fans. I mean, wow. I mean, maybe if we are succumbed to voting for Bernie by mere looks alone, I think Bernie will win. I don't know. Now I've lost myself on this part of the show. I don't know where we were at. And what is looks? Looks is a shallow concept of any case. What I'm saying is that the website is mikesdailypodcast.com. And go there. Oh, you'll find out where to find us on Facebook. Have you been on Facebook lately and found that your Happy Friends Day video, your Facebook video for Happy Friends Day is up? And did you look at yours like I looked at mine and went, wait a minute, most of these people aren't my friends. What? I'm doing something wrong here. I like beards. I will never have a beard. Fremont has a lot of beards. And that's what you can find at mikesdailypodcast.com. Pictures of me without my beard. Pictures, all kinds of podcasts, pictures of interesting things and places and scenery and stuff. Oh, we got the blog. If you want to help us out, there's the Amazon link. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, go through that link at mikesdailypodcast.com, and that helps us out. There's also all the past interviews I've done and all the wonderful places you can listen to the show at mikesdailypodcast.com. And now, the segment we call
the Mikelopedia Insanica.
You got a new horizon, it's ephemeral style. Melancholy town where we never
Wow, this this is fascinating. You've heard the story about the Zika virus. And this is going to be one of the biggest stories of 2016 for sure. Apparently, more than 3,100 pregnant Colombian women are infected with the mosquito-borne Zika virus. This according to President Juan Manuel Santos. This as the disease continues its rapid spread across the Americas. Brazil is investigating the potential link between Zika infections and more than 4,000 suspected cases of microcephaly. It's a birth defect marked by an abnormally small head size that can result in developmental problems. Researchers have identified evidence of Zika infections in 17 of these cases, either in the baby or the mother, but have not confirmed that Zika can cause microcephaly. There are so far no recorded cases of Zika-linked microcephaly in Colombia, Santos said. The government is now uncertain about a previous projection for up to 500 cases of Zika-linked microcephaly based on data from other countries battling the disease. Much remains unknown about Zika, for which there is no vaccine. An estimated 80% of those infected show no symptoms, and those that do have a mild illness with a fever, rash, and red eyes. Now, Santos said the Colombian government will be working across the country to fight mosquito fumigating and helping families rid their homes of stagnant water.
Victim of authority, warning, live without warning. I say warning.
And another story that comes from Reuters is that Chipotle, as you know, has lost customers, sales and profits after outbreaks of foodborne illnesses that sickened more than 500 people from Seattle to Boston. And the burrito chain will shut its 1,900 U.S. restaurants on Monday. This for a meeting with employees to review a rapid overhaul of practices that it hopes will eliminate outbreaks of E. coli, salmonella, and norovirus. But there is no easy way to know whether the fast food chain's safety record is any better or worse than that of any other major restaurant chain. Food safety investigations in the United